Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Million Dollar Media. I am your host, Max Kellerhalls, and with me today we have...
Emily, you know me from so many other videos, but Max, this is not just another episode of Million Dollar Media.
Oh, is it?
No, this is the 100th episode of Million Dollar Media. What are we going to do for such a special occasion?
Well, if you read the title on the thumbnail and just the description, we're talking about The Cage, Nicolas Cage.
Okay, dropping the awkwardly stilted bit now. I'm so excited for this. I love Nick Cage so much.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the greatest actors I think ever. He's just so good. Unstoppable, untoppable.
Mm-hmm.
And today we get to talk about 10 of his finest performances.
Oh, and movies. We gotta give credit to the actual filmmakers that he even gives credit to. The best thing that we'll say about Nick Cage throughout this entire thing is that you could just pop him in anywhere and he just makes the thing. Fucking put him in any genre and he'll make it better.
I love his approach to things because there came a certain point after he had made what he considered to be enough money where he stopped doing big budget stuff and just started taking roles in movies that interested him. And we get to talk about a few of those on this list, and it's awesome because he's just the wildest shit.
I mean, there's also the fact that he also has a bad spending habit.
Well, yeah, but that's why he's gotten that more under control now.
Yeah.
But suffice it to say, I'm really excited.
Oh, me too. I guess one thing we should state, what we define as a Nicolas Cage film, is that he is the main character in the film, or at least a very prominent supporting character in the film. I don't think any on our list are where he is supporting character. So films like Into the Spider-Verse, let's just say, well, he is Spider-Man Noir, and he's great as that. Good, so good, in fact, that they're like live action TV show on the way. But
I am also excited for that.
I'm excited for that too, and I guess for, even though it would never be on this list, The Flash, technically he's in that.
True, I guess technically.
Those would not count as Nicolas Cage films. These movies are Nicolas Cage films.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to say any honorable mentions before we get into our top 10?
Oh, I do. Max, I'm not going to say wouldn't let me, but I was told that we could not put the film Mom and Dad on the top 10, which disappoints me because, much like other fantastic films, Madam Web springs to mind, Mom and Dad is the most batshit movie that I have ever watched. It is insane. There is a scene in Mom and Dad in which Nicolas Cage smashes up a pool table while singing the Hokey Pokey with a sledgehammer.
Oh yeah! You put your right foot in, you take your right foot out, you do the Hokey Pokey, and you fucking work it all out.
It's peak cinema, and I would not let a Nick Cage video go by without mentioning Mom and Dad being amazing.
It's a batshit insane film. I don't like it. The editing in that film hurts me.
Yes, it's so bad, but it would be less fun if it was good.
That's fair.
It's like a fever dream.
Yeah.
Do you have any honorable mentions, Max?
I do. It's Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
Oh, yeah.
Ghost Rider is one of those characters that I only really like because of Nick Cage's performance and just how batshit insane it is sometimes. Like,
sure.
I also just love the idea of the character. I love the look. I just think it's super metal. And I want to see Ghost Rider in more things just in general. But this film in particular is the one where I feel like if it nailed some other actors' performances and just the overall, story, this is the tone I want Ghost Rider to be in. Just this high-octane, bad shit insane, on-the-road movie where he just goes from place to place as Ghost Rider. The Ghost Rider scenes in question are fucking awesome. There's some metal scenes in this film with some cool Ghost Rider action. I don't know, it holds a special place in my heart as, the film I will always say is my guilty pleasure. I know it's bad. It is not good, but I love it. Just the effects on Ghost Rider 2 are just, so much better than what were in the first film. The first film is just kind of bland. It's about as bland as the Daredevil movie, which the same guy made. But,
shit, I actually did not know that was the same person. That's really funny.
Yeah, but this one is just hey, just get the guys who did Crank 1 and 2 to make a Ghost Rider film. And that's just entertaining to me. I love the Crank films, and I like this film.
Hell the fuck yeah.
I guess if I have one more, it is an honorable mention. It is a bad film. It's not good, but his performances in it is so fun to watch. It's Willy's Wonderland.
Oh, fuck yeah. Obviously.
It's, yeah.
Insane film. What if Five Nights at Freddy's was just murder? And what if he disassembled everything at the end?
Yeah.
It's fucking batshit banoodly insane. I love it.
Yeah, what if you, as the main character, just was like, they're not scary, and you're just like, you just beat the fuck out of them. And the fact that it's Nick Cage, who's not the most, like, statuesque or, like, the most built human being you can think of. And he's also, like, 50 plus. And just beating the shit out of animatronics is kind of fun to watch. I don't know, I just love that. I love that film, and it holds a special place in my heart. But not as much as these films coming up. And you ready to get into the top 10?
Let's get into the top 10. Woo!
All right, let's fucking do this. All right, at number 10, we have Lord of War. Not a fun film like we were talking about before, but I think it's just a really good Nick Cage performance. He really gives himself into the character. It's also on a subject matter that I think needs to be talked about more.
Oh, yeah.
One of the rare, decent Jared Leto performances that doesn't make me want to throw up.
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke's really good in the film. I forgot the name, but it's John Wick's wife, I believe, plays like the girl that he goes after in the film.
Bridget Moynihan is the name you're looking for?
I think so. I'll correct myself in the edit. But the opening sequence alone is the reason why this movie is on here at all.
Yeah.
Just incredible stuff. But do you have anything to say about Lord of War?
Not really. I mean, you said a lot of what I think about it. It's an important subject matter, and it was one of the bolder roles that Cage has done. He's really good in it. I don't really have too much more to say about that one. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I don't either. I just think it's a good film. Apparently, it's getting a sequel.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. It's getting a sequel with Bill Skarsgård.
Interesting.
Don't know why, but I guess, as we said earlier, that it's a subject matter that needs to be talked about, and I guess they're coming back to it.
They're they're making it a family business. Skarsgård plays his son in the sequel.
Okay.
It's called Lords of War, and it's about his kid.
Okay. I mean, we'll review it if he's in it.
There we go.
All right. Yeah. Moving on. At number 9, we have National Treasure.
Oh, this one I can talk about.
Okay. This is probably like the first Nick Cage film I saw, obviously. Like, it's more aimed at families. It's a fun, like, adventure film. It's the film that made me actually want to pay attention in social studies class.
This, to me, goes back to, like, the middle school lunchroom, you know?
Yes.
When it was raining outside and they wouldn't let us have recess, this was the movie they put on. So I'm infinitely nostalgic for National Treasure.
Mm-hmm. I also kind of put National Treasure 2 here as well. I think they're both equally good, which is rare for it to just, like, the sequel's not worse or better. It's just about the same.
Yeah.
I just have this one on here because I think this one has just, like, better characters. I think the sequel has a better villain, but I still like Sean Bean. No, that's not Sean Bean. Is it Sean Bean?
It might be. I think it's Sean Bean. Hold on, live fact check, bam. It is Sean Bean.
I love, like, John Voight is still relatively sane in the film. It's not, like, action heavy as, say, like an Indiana Jones film, but what I like that it instead does is it goes, well, what if we actually, like, pulled on, like, actual threads of history and, like, try to, like, break down, like, key political figures. The trailer has the best line in any trailer.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
It's so good.
It's perfect. Is there anything else you guys say about National Treasure?
I think it's awesome. I'm one of those people where it's like, I kind of lament that we don't get as many traditional, like, adventure films like this anymore.
Yeah.
Because, like, movies like this were my shit growing up.
Me too.
And, like, I've always loved, since I was a kid, like, Tomb Raider and Uncharted and all that, like, swashbuckling adventure stuff. And it just bums me out that we don't see it anymore. But this movie is such, like, a warm, pleasant reminder of how fun that kind of stuff was.
I know they have, like, that Disney Plus show, but no Nick Cage, no interest.
Exactly. This is a Nick Cage list, not a baby show for babies who are on Disney Plus list.
Yeah, like,
I hate to say.
Trying to think of anything else I could say about National Treasure. It's just so fun. It's
so good.
And Nick Cage is great in it. I think if you want, like, your traditional Nick Cage freak out, the sequel has the best one.
Oh, 100%.
With him freaking out. Oh, fuck, what's it called? The place where the queen used to live. Buckingham Palace. Is it?
It is Buckingham Palace.
I think it is Buckingham.
It might be Buckingham Palace.
Nick Cage was there. That's all I care about.
It's Nick Caging him Palace now.
Yes. The British stole from so many other people. Now the Cage steals from the British.
Oh shit! Yeah, National Treasure is awesome. This will, I think, be his most like iconic performance. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I guess unless there are like a myriad of kids who grow up without this movie, but that would be like a bummer.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm forcing my children.
You're like, sit down. It's time to witness Nick Cage history.
Yes, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on to number 8. At number 8, we have Con Air. This film.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one fun fact about this movie.
Yes.
I've never watched this one, so this is mostly going to have to be you talking about it. But my contribution here is that this movie is referenced in a song by AJJ that I quite like.
Okay.
There is a line that goes, and then flick a cigarette like that movie Con Air, in reference to a scene where a bunch of shit gets blown up in this film.
Yes, sayonara.
Yes. So that's my connection to this movie, but I actually haven't seen this one. So please sell me on Con Air.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of like Jerry Bruckheimer 90s Nick Cage movies for over a summer, and this was up there, and man, this is so much fun. He has it's a great Southern accent for Nick Cage.
Sure.
I said, put the bunny back in the box.
Yes, just all that. Please, more.
That's awesome.
It's just, let's just put a bunch of 90s character actors on a plane and just have Jerry Bruckheimer, it's not a Michael Bay film, but just like all that shit just go off in this film. And the action's fun. Dave Chappelle gets thrown out of a fucking plane at one point by Nick Cage, so there you go.
My lawyers are telling me not to comment.
The only thing I have a problem with is that, like, once the plane crashes into Las Vegas, the film kind of dies out a bit, and the final action scene between Nick Cage and John Malkovich isn't... It ends well, like, the final blow is really creative and fun, but, like, the fight, it's alright. Everything on the plane is very fun to watch. This movie's been spoofed plenty of times, obviously with the bunny back in the box bit. It's probably one of my favorite Nick Cage memes of him, like, with the lawn hair, just almost absorbing the sun. Just that face he makes. It's
so good.
Perfection. Probably one of my favorite Nick Cage hairs that we'll never see again. Yeah, just a fun fucking performance, man. Just a fun film. It's definitely dated with some depictions of stuff. It was the 90s. You gotta give it a little bit of a break.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah. But if you can look past that and just be like, it's a product of its time, and it is very much a product of its time, you'll have a lot of fun with this. And okay, we're gonna move on to number 7, Leaving Las Vegas, the film in which Nick Cage won an Oscar for.
This is true.
Mm-hmm. And I see why. It's a good film. It's very depressing.
Well, yeah.
If you don't know what the film is about, it's about a guy who is just a raging alcoholic. Like, I don't think he drinks water in the film. Like, I don't think there's any point where he drinks like a normal fucking drink. Not even coffee. He's just like anything, liquor, any kind of liquor he can get his hands on. And he meets up with this escort one night, and it's just a film about their relationship. Just this guy he wants to die. He's just poisoning himself with alcohol to die. Like, it's sad, and like without alcohol, sober.
Yeah,
thank you. And he's just shaking. It just freaked me out because I was like, God, dude, like, you almost were like, just a sip, just to kind of calm the nerves. But you know that he'll just go on this bender. And I think Elizabeth Shue's really good in the film. Yeah, it's a vibe movie. Like, this is definitely like your 90s art house movie where it was a low budget, very minimal crew, just 2 actors acting their asses off, and it's great. It's really good. And for you people who are like, I don't watch that blockbuster shit, I like pure cinema, this is for you. This is your film. It's jazzy. It's a film that you just want to smoke a cigarette to and just think about, like, art.
Oh my God.
That's how I see this film. Yeah, if you want something like that, Leaving Las Vegas is right up there for you. Watch this just to see why Nick Cage deserved that Oscar. Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
I mean, I agree. I don't have anything much to say. This is another one that unfortunately I have not been exposed to, but it's been on my list to watch for a very long time. And frankly, your list convinces me that I need to light up the SIG and watch it at some point. So
Yes. But we're gonna move on to our number 6 spot, which is adaptation, which I haven't seen, but Emily has.
yes, so adaptation is a movie much like anything else that Charlie Kaufman has made that you're either going to really like or really hate. And it depends entirely on whether or not you want to sit with a movie that's about movies, because most of Charlie Kaufman's stuff is that. I think it's really cool. Just in case you aren't familiar with the premise at home, it stars Nicolas Cage as Charlie Kaufman, a screenwriter who's been hired to adapt a novel about orchids. Or it's a nonfiction, not a novel, it's a nonfiction book. And he's been hired to write a screenplay for a film adaptation of this book, but he just can't seem to make it work. Like, he can't figure it out. And he lives with his twin brother, who is also played by Nicolas Cage.
Twice the Cage, even better.
Who Charlie Kaufman in real life does not have a brother, but did, however, credit his fictional twin brother as a second screenwriter on this film.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah,
okay,
so
okay.
The movie is about the character Charlie Kaufman trying to figure out how to write an adaptation of this book, because in real life, Charlie Kaufman was hired to write an adaptation of this real book and could not figure out a way to make it interesting. So he told Spike Jonze, hey, I'm really struggling and I don't think I can make this work. And Spike Jonze was like, well, okay. And then in his desperation to get a script to the studio who was demanding one, like a week or two before production was set to begin, he wrote a script about the fact that he could not write a script for this movie. And so the first 2 acts of the movie revolve around Charlie Kaufman going to screenwriting classes, drinking, meeting people, and trying to figure out what to do in order to make a good movie out of this book, because he feels that the book is all like suffering in the real world and all that, and you can't make a good movie out of that. And the third act descends into La La Land, because a movie needs a third act. It can't just be human suffering for its own sake. Mm-hmm. So if you can't tell by that description, this movie is incredibly weird.
I'm kind of interested from now what you're telling me, because I just know, like, it's Nick Cage, and I'm like, he can sell it. That's the thing. So I'm just more like curious about like his performance and like, I mean, the movie, you already had me hooked on the movie, but I'm kind of curious about like his performance throughout all of this.
Yeah, no, Nick Cage is incredible. This is another performance where I think he should have been nominated for an Oscar, because he's so excellent at playing this like disheveled, tired dude who does not know how to make this project work. One of my favorite scenes in the movie from Nick Cage, and it's a line delivery that absolutely kills me, is he goes to a screenwriting class with a teacher who's played by Brian Cox, and asks a question about this book that he's trying to adapt. He's like, how do you tell a story that doesn't have a happy ending or really even an ending at all, and it's just kind of pain and human existence, because that's what the real world is, not what the movie world is. And Brian Cox's character goes on this long rant about how if you can't find anything interesting in the real world, you're not looking, right? Like, people die every day, people sacrifice themselves for each other every day, parents leave kids on stoops every day. There's so much suffering in the real world that you can make art out of if you want to. And it's this like it's like a 2 or 3 minute long monologue. And then Nick Cage, who's been standing up the whole time, just goes,
okay, thanks.
And it is one of the best line reads that I have ever heard.
That's amazing. That's just like, that's what I love about Nick Cage. He takes certain lines and he finds interesting and new angles to approach them. They just steal the scene.
So no, adaptation, if you are into movies about movies, like if that's your jam, if you're into that kind of stuff and art about the creative process, you will have a good time with adaptation. But if you tend to find stuff like that boring or whiny or goes over your head, it will not be something that you enjoy.
Whiny.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a valid criticism. But adaptation, very cool movie. Nick Cage is so excellent in it, even though it's a more restrained role. Having Nick Cage play Charlie Kaufman's fictional twin brother and crediting that fictional twin brother as a screenwriter for this movie is a hilarious bit. Adaptation is worth your time, for sure.
Awesome. All right, you ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right, at number 5, we have The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, a film which we have covered on this channel. Our 10th episode we ever did on $1 Million Media.
Yeah, was this the first episode that you and I did, just the two of us? I think it was.
Yes. I think it was, yeah. Like, we just went to go see this. And then we were like, let's just go fucking record it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, and it's also kind of the reason why we're doing this episode, because 10 times 10. But, yeah, just a fun film. I've come around on it more positively. I was just a bit more, like, sour on, like, the actual action parts of the film, because I do believe that if you nailed, like, the over-the-top, like, Michael Bay style action in the third act of this film, I think it would have been a lot funnier. But
Yeah.
as it stands, the film is hilarious. And just like Nicolas Cage, I think Pedro Pascal has become one of my favorite, like, actors where I'm like, anything he's in, I'm like, I'm going to give it a shot. I think this is going to be good.
Yeah.
And he's incredible in this film. The film is just really funny. Like, I mean, you talked about adaptation with, obviously, with it being about the movie making process. This film is just one big meta joke
Oh, yeah.
about just two guys just making a screenplay that just turns into something else towards the third act, which is, it's brilliantly written. The performances are great. I'm gonna quote a channel Blind Wave where they said, you can't make this film without Nick Cage in it. Like, if it was any other star, this would not work.
Yeah, 100%. I can't think of anyone who could have pulled off that role the way Nick Cage does, or who that role could even have been written for the way Cage does.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's also like this particular actor fits this movie because Nicolas Cage is just a movie star. Like, anything he's in, I'm interested in. Like, he's a drawing point to the film. There's no actor, like, Tom Cruise couldn't work for this. Fucking Brad Pitt can't work for this. Hell, if you want to go a bit modern, Tom Holland can't make, like, a film like this. Nick Cage has done the full gambit of all sorts of film, from good to bad, different genres. Even his personal life has a little bit of effect in this film. And it's just... But it comes away not being, like, poo-pooey against film. It's being like, aren't movies fun? That's kind of how I get the feeling after I watch this film. It's just like, movies are fun to make, right?
Yeah. No, it's a movie that is so decidedly uncynical when it could have been way more cynical.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is like, it's just awesome. I stand by most of what I said in that review. Like, it's just a good time at the movies.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the deleted scenes?
I have not, but I want
they're
to.
Fucking insanity. Like, I'll just kind of TLDR it. You know, the whole running bit of Nicky, his imaginary younger version of himself.
Yes.
It's based on an interview he did with Letterman. But that version of himself takes our Nick Cage into this weird German expressionism style, like, mindfuck trip where he's chasing a younger version of him down. It's insanity. It's all done in black and white. The sets are all, like, angular and shit. It's insane. And the fact that they just cut it out of the film, I get why they did it, because it couldn't really fit in the film, but knowing that they went that extra mile to be like, we're gonna do this with Nick Cage.
Wasn't the script written for specifically Nick Cage too? Like, I think
you told me that it was in the black box for, like, years. Like, it was...
Oh yes, it was. It was in the black book. You're so right.
Yes. Do you want to explain what that is real quick?
Yes. So if you're not familiar, screenplays in Hollywood don't always immediately get made into movies when they're written. Normally, a screenwriter will go around to studios and be like, "Hey, this is a movie I've written," and studios will be like, "Here are some changes, and then we'll make your movie." Or if you're really famous, they'll be like, "Okay, we'll make your movie," or they will reject it. And if a screenplay gets rejected enough, what screenwriters will sometimes do is have their screenplays collated in what's called the Black Book, which is a book of unproduced screenplays that goes out every year that are like the cream of the crop of stuff that has not been made yet. And this movie was in there for a while. It was just one of those movies that got written, and no studio wanted to pick it up, but it just chilled there until it finally got made, which is really cool. A cool, inspiring story to know that not every screenplay just goes off to die a sad death.
Are you ready to move on?
I am ready to move on, but yes, this is an awesome movie. You should watch it if you haven't. All right.
At number 4, we have The Rock.
Michael Bay's finest film? ?
I'd say so. Like,
reasonable.
This is Michael Bay's best film. It's got everything you want in a Michael Bay film. It's got the explosions, it's got the action. But I also think, unlike a lot of Michael Bay films, it actually has like good meaning and heart behind it. Take like Nick Cage aside, the villain in the film, played by Ed Harris, you're on his side throughout most of the film. You're like, I kind of get why he's doing this. Like, have you seen The Rock?
I have not, no. So I'm
like,
I'm just playing along with you here.
Okay, he's a general who's lost many soldiers and has been disillusioned by the the American myth and American dream. Just like he's just beaten down by the system, and then one day he's just like, I've had enough. He kind of goes postal, not postal, but like he and a bunch of his other loyal soldiers basically take over Alcatraz, imprison all of the staff and the tourists that were there in the prison cells, turn it back into a prison, and they threaten San Francisco with a bioweapon and basically say, if you don't pay up, families of the soldiers that have fallen under me, I'm going to release this. And so what the American government decides is like, okay, we're going to send in our best like military biochemist or whatever that he is. I had a teacher who had the same position that he had in the movie, so every time my teacher would be like, The Rock, Nick Cage's role in The Rock, I was that in real life.
Damn.
Yeah, he was like, I had Nick Cage's job. And they have him, and they have the Sean Connery, who is one of the only people to escape Alcatraz. And they basically are like, get him back into Alcatraz to stop this. There's just a lot of great scenes in the film. Ed Harris is great. Sean Connery's great. The line about the prom queen is fucking awesome.
You sure you're ready for this?
I'll do my best.
Your best. Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Carla was the prom queen.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so sick.
It's just such a fun film. The heart's there, like Sean Connery and his daughter, that stuff is interesting. The overall villain's message is believable, and you're on his side a little bit, but then once it kind of goes a little bit too far off, you're like, okay, buddy. The late great Tony Todd's in the film. Michael Biehn is in the film. Just a lot of, again, great 90s character actors are in this. And yeah, Nick Cage is just a really fun performance. It's kind of fun seeing this really nerdy guy become this really cool badass. He's the nerd who did go home to fuck the prom queen.
Right.
It's a fun film. That's all I gotta say. It's, again, Michael Bay's best film. Best action, in my opinion. Just everything's done so well in the film. Like, say what you want about Michael Bay, and there's a lot to say. He does know what he wants. He is definitely in there, and he knows how to direct action very well, especially in this film.
Fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's all I gotta say. We're gonna move on to our number 3, which is Mandy. Which there's a funny story behind this film with you and I.
Yeah, is there?
I lent you the DVD, and I was like, "Have you seen it yet?" And you kept being like, "No." Because that was the thing where it was like, I think it was this. Or you were like, "Oh, I haven't seen Mandy yet," and I was like, "Dude, watch this shit."
I'm sorry.
I don't think I got it back.
I don't have it, so I definitely gave it back to
Don't
you.
worry, I bought it on Blu-ray because this film is just wow.
Yeah.
I saw this movie sober, and I love it. I still have yet to watch this movie on any other substance because this is a film that is a feast for the eyes. This is a trippy acid trip of a movie, guided by the best hand you could possibly have, which is Nick Cage, guiding you through this metal 80s nightmare of a film. But it's still so beautiful. It's just driven by pure emotion. That's the best I could say. The visuals are striking. As the character descends into more and more madness after revenge, it gets crazier and crazier. Like, Nick Cage has a chainsaw fight with someone.
I have seen that.
It is awesome. The weapon that he makes, so beautiful, and that has some really fun. The bikers from hell are just insane. Like, if you don't know what the film is about, it's a basic revenge story. Like, this, you don't go into this film wanting the best of plots. You go into this film being like, I want to see some crazy visuals and a Nick Cage performance. This isn't his most subtle performances I've ever seen. but it has some subtlety in it that I do appreciate. Especially, he descends more into madness. It's really interesting. Like, he has talked very much in his, like, interviews about how much he appreciates, like, classic film, like, early 20s, but even before that film, where it's just very trippy visuals with very little dialogue. And this is right up his alley. It's got everything that you would want with, like... Nick Cage basically becomes, like, the slasher movie villain at the end. Like,
and that's fucking sick as hell.
Yeah, it is. And, like, it's funny, too, because I saw the interview for this film, and he talks about how the director was like, yeah, I kind of want you to play this like Jason Voorhees. And he's like, I don't watch those films.
But then after the Skull Juice, Panos wanted more to be like Jason from Friday the 13th. To which I thought, because I don't really watch slasher films. I did watch the one he wanted me to see, but I thought more like the ancient Gollum, not the one in Lord of the Rings, the ancient Gollum, the Jewish Gollum, which was a statue come to life. So Red becomes more of a monolith, if you will.
I don't know, man. Like, I love Mandy. It's just, I mean, if you're watching this, obviously, you could see the poster. Like, those are just a fraction of the colors that are in this film. Like, this movie has every color imaginable. I don't know.
I will watch it one day, Max. I promise you I will.
Here's the thing. Here's the beauty of this film. You don't even have to be on anything, and you will get there. It will get you there. I watched this alone in my dorm during COVID with the lights off. It was night. It was Halloween time. Oh, man. Perfect mood setter. I don't know what kind of mood you want to be in, but it sets you there.
It's something.
Uh-huh. I love Mandy. It is so good. Yeah, let's move on to our number 2 Nicolas Cage film.
Pig!
Mm-hmm. I'm going to let you talk about this. You love this film.
I do love this film. If I were to ever sit down and make a list of my top 10 favorite movies ever, Pig would be on that list. Which is saying something, because I've watched too many movies. But Pig is a truly exceptionally special film. It follows Nick Cage as an older man who is a former chef and restaurateur who now lives in the woods with his pig, who sniffs truffles for him, and he collects the truffle to make food and live his quiet little life until the pig is kidnapped and he has to go and find it. And, you know, when you hear that premise, you assume that this will be the regular, insane Nicolas Cage fare, right? Where he becomes John Wick for a pig.
I was going to say, this sounds like a John Wick parody with Nicolas Cage.
But it's not. This is a dramatic movie about an older person trying to reckon with the life that he once lived and whether or not he still wants to be that person.
Okay.
It is because going through and finding his pig brings him back into the restaurant scene. It brings him back into all of the people that he knew before he left to go live in the woods. And he has to confront his old life in order to get this one piece of his new life that makes sense to him. Mm-hmm. It is a sort of dramatic odyssey through this person's life, through the world of professional cooking. And Cage just brings this brilliant gravity to every scene that he's in. You can feel the weight on this character's shoulders of everything that has happened to him and the way that the world has crushed him, right, has beaten him. Mm-hmm. You don't go to live in the woods because you're a happy person. And
sorry,
Kate.
That's a wild fucking statement.
What, is it wrong?
I know plenty of happy people who live in the woods.
Well, that's great for... He lives alone in the woods, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he has his pig. He had his pig, right?
He did have his pig.
Okay.
But it is a beautiful, haunting odyssey about this person looking for something that he lost by going through the ruins of other stuff that he's lost. And it's tragic and warm and has all the right amount of pathos and emotion that you would want from a movie like this. And it's just beautiful. It is a beautiful film. It's a beautiful performance by Cage. And it serves as a reminder that, you know, for every silly or dumb or corny movie that he does, if he really wants to do a role like this, he will bring it like nobody else can bring it. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's part of what makes Nick Cage such a great actor, is just that he can do a role like Pig or Leaving Las Vegas just as well as he can do a role like Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance or fucking mom and dad or whatever else,
Mm-hmm.
right? He can be anywhere and he can bring exactly what that role needs. It's not like out of place, right? It's not like you cast Adrian Brody in an Adam Sandler movie. It's
That, wow.
right? Like, it's Nick Cage knows how to bring it to every type of role, and he's so powerful in this, and it's awesome. That's Pig. Watch it. Beautiful film.
You sold me. I gotta see it. I've been meaning to watch this. I just haven't been able to like track it down yet. But how did you watch it?
I watched it in the theater. I watched it opening weekend.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Me and my friends were all like, "We need to go see the fucking Pig movie." Like we did.
All right.
We saw it with something else. It was a double feature, but we were mostly excited about Pig. It was
Fair.
Pig and Escape Room 2. That was what it
Huh.
was.
Okay. But not as good as our number one, which is Face Off.
Can I make an interesting factoid before we talk about Face Off?
Go ahead.
There are exactly 3 movies wherein Nicolas Cage plays 2 different characters in the film. These films are The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent,
Mm-hmm.
Adaptation, and Face Off. And we put all 3 in our top 10.
Fuck yeah. And I think Face Off is the best. Here's the thing about Face Off. Is it the best written film ever made? No. Is it high art? No. Is it the best Nick Cage performance you're ever going to see? Probably not. But the reason why we have it at number one is I think this is the film that showcases everything great about Nicolas Cage. In my personal opinion. I don't know about you, but that's just why I forced this to be at number one.
No, that's completely fair. I mean, Face Off is insanity. Pure, undiluted madness.
Yeah, and it's great.
And yeah, Travolta's there.
He's good too. Like, the performances of both leading men are great. And yeah, it is a co-led film, but it's morally Nicolas Cage's film because I guess you could say he plays the quote-unquote hero more in the film.
Protagonist, I suppose.
Protagonist, yeah. And it's a dumb premise, yes. Great idea for a film, though.
Yeah.
Like, obviously this shit would never work. But the idea of these two yin-yang rivalries, like ultimate hero cop and evil gangster, having to swap faces and, like, see life through their points of view. And both actors do a great job of impersonating what traits each character had to bring. Like, the reason why I think this is, like, one of the better Nick Cage performances is, like, there are moments where he has to play, like, so many different layers of, like, he's pretending to be an evil gangster, but he's a good cop. So when he's in prison, he has to act over the top as hell. The performance is fake, but it's so fun. Like, the action's great. If you want John Woo, this film woos.
Oh, yeah.
The doves, the flips, the spins, the gunplay, all great. The action is fantastic. Now, are there some obvious fucking stunt doubles and wires with HD quality? Hell yeah. But you can look past that.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want that in a film?
I mean...
Right? Like, it's part of the charm, I think.
Mm-hmm. I just think this as Nick Cage is like... when I think Nick Cage, I think Face Off. Just a fun, over-the-top, crazy film that has some great action, some good heart behind it, great performances all around, or fun performances. I won't say great, but fun performances.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think a performance has to be like a dramatic masterpiece to be a good performance.
Mm-hmm.
They brought what was necessary for the role.
Mm-hmm. And I damn near say even better, because I think in acting classes, they always say, like, you have to play these different masks of a character. And it's like, this is like that times a million.
Yeah.
Because you're literally wearing someone else's face within the plot of the film, and it's kind of interesting how they play into that. And
yeah.
It's fun. It's just, I saw this and I was just like, this is awesome. This is Nick Cage at his best. And this is why we love him, because of Face Off. And it also makes for some great jokes in the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with the gold-plated pistols.
Oh, of course. One of my favorite jokes from that movie.
Yeah, just great. Yeah, and I guess that's it for our top 10 Nicolas Cage movies and our 100th episode. And yeah, I just wanted to do this because I thought it'd be like a fun little celebration of just like movies. And I think there's no better actor to do that than Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah, I mean Nicolas Cage is cinema, right? He's like all of the super dramatic, high avant-garde stuff, right down to superhero movies and dumb action flicks and everything in between. Shitty horror movies, biopics, you name it. Nick Cage has done it.
Mm-hmm.
There is no guy who is more movies to me than Nicolas Cage is.
Mm-hmm. Cinema in the dictionary should just have his face.
Yeah,
that's it. It should be him. It should be gold plated, and should be like that pillow that if you wave it, it gives you a different Nicolas Cage face.
Oh my god.
Is there anything else you want to say about this before we wrap this video up?
No, I mean I loved doing this. I love talking about Nick Cage. He's the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit on our shorter side, I'll say this, for a top 10 list.
I think it's fun because, in addition to this being a top 10 list, I think these are also movies where, like, if you haven't seen them, you should go watch them because they're still good movies to watch today. If I was trying to explain to, like, an alien what movies are, this
oh my god.
collection of 10 movies would be a perfect spectrum of what movies are, you know?
Yeah. Then we'd probably get annihilated afterward.
Well, I think aliens would annihilate us regardless. I mean, what? Do you want me to show them fucking grown-ups too? Like,
they'd look at our channel and be like, nah.
Nah. Thank you guys for listening. Subscribe to our channel if you want us to review every movie that Nick Cage makes from here on out. All of them, no exceptions.
Oh, yes. I'm excited, because apparently they're also going to be doing Face Off too.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know.
If you want to hear us talk about that, subscribe to the channel.
Mm-hmm. We got a bunch of other videos coming out soon. Me and Emily are going to be doing the Mission Impossible movies, one of them which is directed by John Woo.
True.
Anime April coming up soon. That's going to be fun. We're also going to be doing reviews for Invincible Season 3, The Monkey, Mickey 17, all sorts of different things. So yes, stay subscribed. I hope you have a good day. Bye.